Hey, you know when you're an adult and you you're trying to hurry your child along or a child along. It doesn't have to be a child either. It could be anyone who just doesn't know things yet as much as you do. Or it could even be about a specific thing. It all right. If I'm if I know something and I'm like, oh, we're on holiday. I know the best spots. Let's go. I've got the whole itinerary planned in my head. I know everything. Let's just go. Right. And if you have that as a parent to a child when they're on holiday, the child's always going to be asking questions. Where are we going? And, what's going on? And I don't want to do that. And I want to do that. And maybe they've got an abundance of questions all relating to why are we deciding to do this and why did you do that, and it's kind of frustrating. You just want them to just do as you say and follow along, and we'll all be happy, everything will be great, like you'll see. The child, there's no time. Like it's exhausting to try and explain what's about to happen. It's just in the moment, kind of, let's action. Come on, let's action time. Come on, let's just follow me. I know best. Kind of follow my guidance. Let's go. Don't think about it, because when you start to think about it, when you start to question it, it slows the whole thing down, and then you're not in the flow of life. You're not in the flow of the moment, and you're not letting some kind of higher guidance, i.e. in this case, your parent who's planned the holiday, you're not letting that higher guidance just whisk you away. And so this analogy, I see it happening even within myself. And what I mean is, if I'm attuned to a higher state and I am acting on intuition and inspiration, I can go along and follow and just stay in this slipstream of somehow genius messages that are coming through to me from some unknown higher place. Right. And if I was to follow that intuition, then it will take me to places that I would really struggle to get there, because if I have to consciously, mentally think about everything and analyze it and use my cerebral ability to comprehend, then I start to tune out of that frequency, and I start to step out of that slipstream of some kind of conscious knowledge or knowing from a higher source, whether it's following some intuition that's within yourself, or it's following a higher form of knowledge exteriorly, like with your parent, or like with guidance from someone who you feel has great wisdom. There's an appreciation of the source of information, and if you trust it, you let go it, you let go to it, and you just follow. And when you have that kind of relationship, regardless where the source of information is coming from, if you trust that source and just let it guide you, then more often than not, you're going to actually make a lot of headway, and you're going to get a lot of results very quickly. Now, that journey can pop up in all different areas of life. The thing that sprung to mind is this analogy of something that maybe anyone can relate to, is that frustrating moment when you know something more and you're just trying to get someone else to follow you along and just trust you. That's it. It's kind of, you'll see you're not going to even understand if I was to explain it to you. Just trust me and follow me, and I'll get you there. You'll find out soon. It's that kind of situation. So imagine if that kind of situation is playing out every time you catch yourself analyzing what decision to make. Because that happens all the frickin' time with me. All the time. You might not be consciously aware of it now. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But now that I've planted the seed, and if you know what I'm talking about, watch out for any of these life's decisions that lay in front of us, from the smallest to the biggest, to the new and novel, to the recurring, repeating, familiar choices, right? So we're going around day to day. I need to clean this up because I see this thing on the table, and let's just tidy up. You pick that up, you take it to the bin. If it needs to go into recycling, you go towards the recycling area, and then you notice something else you need to do, and then you're compelled to follow that as well. Oh, I'll do that. And then before you know it, you're kind of like acting like someone with ADHD, where that's their whole life. They're just going through, following their intuition from one to the next. And there's always going to be an array of the next choice that's in front of you immediately, or all around you at the same time. And so that can be like falling into the madness of ADHD and the madness of having all these multiple choices. So which one do you choose? Which one should you choose? Which one's going to get you to a good outcome the quickest? Which is most efficient? If, like me, you're caught up in, I don't want to waste time. I want to be efficient. I want to know what's the best course of action with the highest probability of the preferred outcome. In a nutshell, that's me. That's what I want. Every choice in life ever. It's crazy how that is my modus operandi. But it is. So every single tiny decision, that analytical machine that's been so used to being the dominant factor in making any decision, has always been that center of power. That triggers every single time, this analysis method. And it's exhausting because it's old tech. It's mechanical. You can feel it start up. You can feel it running. It takes time to analyze the pros and cons of every decision. And I'm becoming more and more aware. I'm just sitting there and I catch myself frozen in time. I'm frozen in space. And I'm standing there with currently undergoing an action and a new possibility in front of me. And I'm stuck like, which is the most efficient? Which is not going to waste me time? Which do I do first? And it's over and over. I find myself in these like glitch positions where I'm just waiting for my brain. I'm waiting for that buffer bar where analyzing, processing. And it's really infuriating once I'm more aware of it. Because then it just grates on me. It's kind of like playing a computer game, and instead of it going flawlessly the whole time, every single decision you have to make, it stops, and there's like the screen freezes and you're just frozen, and it's just loading. It's just that beach ball of doom, just that buffering bar when you don't have a good connection watching a YouTube video. It's like that in life. If you were to watch yourself from the third person perspective, you would see yourself going around doing little tasks, and then you'd have these moments where you're just indecisive and frozen. And it might be funny to watch from the outside perspective, but I think inside that happens to me all the time. I'm not even fully aware that happens so often. And it's hopefully something that I can remedy, improve at least, So the admission of internal experience is like that. It's akin to that moment where I realize that I'm over-analyzing things. I realize that that's been hardwired and that's my go-to process. And at the same time, I'm reminded that previously I might have been just fluttering through in that slipstream of almost unconscious knowing of what to do. And really beautiful examples of what I could do as a creative method of doing so. All of these choices and decisions, I'm able to somehow tune into a higher source of knowledge, and I'm just able to let go and tune into that slipstream and let it carry me. And I can almost see my body from the inside just running on kind of autopilot. I am still consciously aware and governing different choices, different things to do, but I'm no longer micromanaging everything. I'm kind of sitting back and I'm watching this beautiful machine that I call my body, and then following intuition through a higher frequency somehow. I'm able to just relinquish a lot of control and command, and I'm just letting me be guided by a higher source of knowledge. And when I'm able to do that consistently without too many interruptions from the analytical mind trying to go, hey, pump the brakes, like I'm confused, I need to know what's going on, I need to be in control of this, what if something dangerous happens, what if, and it's like the higher voice, I'm going to say it's from grace, and then ego's the one who's holding things back and holding himself back, and grace is kind of that higher form of knowledge, that older child, the older sibling who just understands things, and ego maybe can't or won't for a long time or whatever it is. But nonetheless, ego's mechanical and technical analytical tools and processes, they're slow and they're usually a lot of effort to run, and they have all these bugs because they can be commandeered and hijacked by and interrupted by lots of different internal processes that ego's built, all of these mechanisms inside. So the more I find myself able to go about my day tuned to a higher frequency, letting grace just guide me, I find myself doing marvelous things, like being inspired. I'm hungry, so I'm inspired to go in the fridge and look what I have. And I'm inspired to create a beautiful dish with beautiful flavors, with different sauces and seasonings and dips and things like that. And I make some weird concoction that you think won't go together, but then you eat it and then it's like an explosion of flavor, and it's something that you intentionally set out to do. You were going, I'm in the mood for something a little bit savory. I'm in the mood for umami. I'm in the mood for salty and umami. So then I go in the fridge and I see some pasta and I see some pesto, and I'm like, pesto pasta. Okay, well that's the main dish that I'm going to make because I don't have anything else not at hand. And then I see I've got a little jar of white miso paste, and I was thinking, oh, miso, that's the umami, great. And I can mix in some grated hard cheese as well, some Parmesan, right? I can do that, some pecorino, and that'll be a killer combination because I've done that before. Had miso paste and pecorino, and you make a little paste, and you can spread that on toast. Maybe make it into a butter, so you have that kind of ultimate umami butter with miso, and you can have that as with garlic as well, garlic miso butter. You can have that as a paste, and it's awesome. So I kind of made a sauce with all of these different things and added a bit of chili, added a bit of harissa paste, and it tasted really good. And I had that with broccoli as well, and another idea came to mind about this dish with the broccoli and the broccoli heads. And all these ideas are coming to mind, and I'm making this delicious food, and I was inspired to just go ahead and do the thing without much preamble, without much pause to run this analytical machine. And it will take me ages to make decisions. And I know that that's a characteristic I've been heavily relying on for all my life, really. The moments when I do let grace take over and I'm just in the zone and I'm in the flow. When I do let things flow, they are usually about creative physical acts, whether it be dancing, or before it was skating, or before then it was sports, gymnastics, basketball, whatever it is. That's when I would tune out of the lower frequency of my brain having to control everything and figure everything out and provide the solutions, do everything basically. And I am able to tune out of that and into a higher frequency where I just surrender to creativity and I let intuition guide me. And it's marvelous. It's just marvelous. And I'm able to tune into that without much effort when I get high. It just comes over me and I recognize it like a warm hug from behind. You know, Grace has given me a warm hug and she's like, "Oh, I'm here again. Can I take control? You know, can I play? Can I puppeteer this little mark you have there?" And then I let Grace take control, and Grace is the chef. Grace is the home cook. And I let her inspire me, and she's been there the whole time. So all of these traits that are creatively inspired from me, I'm going to attribute them to Grace.